First things first, though, none of this would be possible without God. And so we would like to welcome and invite Dusty Drake, the pastor of Community Christian Church, to come up here and open us up with an invocation.
I was asked to pray today and kick things off, and I said, "What am I praying for?" They said, "We can't tell you." And so I said, "I would be glad to pray for it." So let's pray, okay? Lord God, who is the creator and sustainer of everything that is, we thank you today for this new beginning that is in front of us. You have unendingly proven that you will provide, and we trust that you have yet again. We are gathered in this place today expectant. We are excited for what you have in store for us. We trust that your hand will guide us, that your face will watch over us as we step into a new chapter in our county. May all that is to come be solidly in your will and for the good of your people and your kingdom. And we thank you for extending to us the riches of your love and for your limitless grace that covers us in our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. And now to him who is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think, according to the power at work within us, to him be glory in Bourbon County and in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. And everybody said, Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Drake. Author James Watkins said, "A river cuts through a rock, not because of its power, but its persistence." And today, because of that persistence and hard work and dedication of many individuals in this room, it is my privilege to be the first to welcome you to what will be Bourbon County Community Hospital. We meet today to celebrate a partnership that has grown over the last 8 months between the County Commission, Fort Scott City Commission, Bourbon County Ready, and Noble Health Corp. It was these partnerships that have made today's joyous announcement, possible. Joining us today are also members of our congressional and state leadership that have also been instrumental in making today a reality. Please join me in welcoming United States Senator, the Honorable Jerry Moran. United States Congressman, the Honorable Jake LaTurner. Kansas Attorney General, the Honorable Derek Schmidt. We thank you all for your support of this project and look forward to the future with you as our leaders. So thank you for being here. Finally, there is one group of individuals that I want to thank today because without their honesty and recommendations, we would not be here making this announcement. Those are the men and women of this community who took time of their busy schedules to visit with the Noble Health team during their weekly due diligence visits over the past 8 months. Several of those people are here today, and to those who are and those who are not, I thank you. Now, I would like to take this time to welcome to the podium District 3 County Commissioner Clifton Beth to speak on behalf of the Bourbon County Commission who are here today. Please join me in welcoming them today and thanking them for their hard work throughout these last 8 months. Chairman Jim Harris, District 1 Commissioner Lynn O'Hara, and again, District 3 Commissioner Clifton Beth.
Thanks everybody for coming. Again, I'm Clifton Beth, District 3 County Commissioner. A few years ago when our hospital closed, our community was shocked. Fortunately, there were some entities that were able to step up and provide us health care, and we are forever grateful for those entities that were able to do that. However, there was a lacking in the community that still needed to be addressed. With today's announcement of the next step by Noble Health, then their commitment to collaborate and revitalize this hospital, that need will be addressed. One of the priorities of Bourbon County Ready and Rob Harrington was to identify what can this building be, or can it be a hospital? And with the help of Noble Health and their assessment that they have done for the last 6 months, we look forward to that continuing. that next step. All rural communities deserve robust health care, and Bourbon County is no exception. We are taking bold steps for our economic development and the healthcare future of our county. Rural hospitals have struggled and closed nationwide, and for Bourbon County, our intent is to end that trend. We want to thank our partners and collaborators as we are closer to making that happen for our community. We want to say thank you to Bourbon County Ready, Rob Harrington, and Noble Health especially, and look forward to that continued partnership.
Thank you, Commissioner Bass. Our next speaker, my phone just went dark. Maybe that's telling me something. Our next speaker represents the Fort Scott City Commission, who are all here in attendance today. Mayor Kevin Allen has been a part of this process throughout the entire time, and now serving as mayor will be instrumental in seeing this growth. As the mayor comes up, please join me in thanking Commissioners Matthew Wells, Pete Allen, Tim Van Hookey, Commissioner Josh Jones, who during this process served as mayor and was instrumental in moving this project forward. And we would also like to ask that you thank past Commissioners Randy Nichols and Lindsay Watts, who served throughout these last several months. Mayor Allen.
Thank you. I thought we had the mic adjusted pretty good, and Rob messed it up again. So I want to thank everyone for being here today. The redevelopment and revitalization of a community hospital is a very critical way to support our growing community's future. This project is a great example of the dedication that everyone has to Fort Scott and Bourbon County. I would like to thank Rob Harrington and the many others that have their hard work and perseverance on this project. I know it has taken some time to get where we are today, and there's still a lot of work to be done. We're ready to take that next step. So on behalf of the City Commission, as the mayor and lifelong resident of this great little community so many of us call home, we say thank you and welcome.
Before I move on to my last introduction, I would like to take this time to introduce the men and women who gave me this great opportunity to serve as Director of Bourbon County Ready. If I could ask the board members that are present today to please stand and be recognized. This is the board members of Bourbon County Ready. This group of men and women have made all this possible with their hard work and determination to make sure that our county grows, and I thank them for the opportunity to be here and lead this organization. So finally, let me introduce a man who 7 months ago had never stepped foot in Fort Scott, Kansas, and honestly probably never had a reason to. Then after a LinkedIn conversation between him and I, and a visit to our wonderful community, him and the ownership team decided that Bourbon County and the city of Fort Scott would be an ideal location for investment by Noble Health Corporation. Please help me in welcoming the CEO of Noble Health Corp, Drew Solomon.
Well, Rob, you really do a number on this mic, don't you? Just one moment here. Okay, I see a lot. I'm not much for canned comments, so I apologize in advance to all of the folks who wrote these. I have to tell you, I'm probably going to go off script quite a bit. That being said, I have to tell you all thank you. I see so many familiar faces in here. As Rob referenced, I'd never set foot in this community, county, city, or otherwise, 7-8 months ago. And to see the number of familiar faces and folks I can call friend is an incredible thing. So thank you all for that. I'm going to stand up here today and frankly be really, really humble. It's not Noble Health that makes things like this happen. It's the will of a community. It's the people who live here, the people who have suffered, the people who have sacrificed, and quite frankly, the people who have endured. Truly, the closure of the hospital, coupled with the support of healthcare that came in the after effect, the wonderful organizations that helped lift this community up and provide the needs that it had and will continue to have should be the ones that are applauded. There is an incredible group of people to get to this point. For us, as we look at it, Noble Health is a rural-focused healthcare system. We believe that sustaining the next generation of rural vitality is critical, and obviously community hospitals are part of that. So when we look at these communities, and I'd like to take a moment and introduce a few people just by a show of hands, but for the Noble Health team, we have Tom Carter, co-founder, Merrill Atwater, Elijah Haar. These folks are all heart and soul dedicated to that mission, which is the next generation of healthcare and hospitals in rural communities. And so when we collectively, and I myself personally, look at communities like Bourbon County and Fort Scott, we see our aunts, our uncles, our mothers, our fathers. I grew up in a rural community in central Missouri. This way of life is under indictment. This way of life is harder and harder to live with each passing generation. Farmers, welders, manufacturing, distribution, the local small businesses that all call these communities home, not just Bourbon County. That's the American fabric. That's what matters as we look at this. And so as we look at what we do to restore and revitalize a community hospital, it'll be with those folks in mind. And it'll be with those outcomes in mind. So with today, as you know, we've been for several months working on feasibility analysis. We thought it would be an appropriate time to communicate to the public and let everyone know that yes, we are going to take the next step in this process. Now, it is a long process, and I am a realist and an economist, so we have a long road ahead of us. But what I will say, we have retained a design firm, HD Design. I don't know if John is here or not. There's John. Wonderful. Give John a round of applause. Incredible organization. They've been phenomenal to work with. Can't say enough good things. And we will be issuing, in the coming weeks and months, we will be issuing an RFQ for construction services, and we will begin the revitalization and restoration of a community hospital in Bourbon County, Kansas. And so that is our mission and our focus. As I mentioned, there's a lot of months between now and then and a lot of process that we go through. We wouldn't be able to do any of it if it wasn't for that wonderful collaboration with the public, the community, the county, the city, the other healthcare providers in the market. They've done immeasurable things to help this community sustain. And my hope is that at the completion of this project, we'll all be able to talk to one another as being regularly stepping foot in Bourbon County every week, every month, every year, as opposed to having never been here prior to this engagement. And so for me, I'm just, like I said, incredibly humbled, incredibly thankful, and quite frankly, really energized to get started. I'm working on that. And so sort of in sum for me, you know, the big why, I'm a big believer in why do something. It's because for our rural futures, for counties like this across Kansas and across the country, we have to do something to make sure that the economic vitality and the determinants of health and the opportunity to have the pride, the satisfaction, and also the opportunity that a community hospital brings, we all deserve that. It will be hard, but it's something that's incredibly worth endeavoring on. And so that's why we are and why we will take the next step in this process. So with that, I would like to hand the microphone over to Merrill Atwater from Noble Health. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I cannot believe how great the weather is today on this beautiful announcement. I was talking to Rob earlier today, and we talked about potentially doing this outside, and we're like, well, then we'd have to put media out there, and that might be difficult, so we decided to do it in here instead. So I'm glad everybody to see here, and the turnout's incredible. I have the distinct privilege to actually introduce our next couple speakers, 3 speakers. And each one of them I've known for a very long time. In different capacities, either working with them directly on certain projects, but in this particular case, every single one of them, whenever I got a chance to talk to them about what was going on, we're thrilled that this opportunity has presented itself to Bourbon County. The first person I would like to speak to is a dear friend of mine, has done a tremendous job in his current position as Attorney General for the state of Kansas, Derek Smith. Please.
exciting day for Bourbon County. I hope and believe for Noble Health, certainly for Fort Scott, for Southeast Kansas, and really beyond that, for all of Kansas, because it gives hope to everybody in a community that's had a struggling or a closed community hospital that there is a dawn after the sunset. Like this community, I grew up in an area, I'm from Independence, and we also lost a long established community member when Mercy decided to leave Kansas. We lost the hospital I was born in and my family had been treated in for generations, and we had family members who died there, and I remember growing up with the sisters as part of the community and just an integral piece, and it was not just a financial and a community sustainability and a healthcare loss, it was a personal loss when that was no longer to be. I know that was true here as well. But just as there's always a sunrise that follows a sunset, we can see dawn breaking today. And I know that this community and all of Southeast Kansas is looking forward to that type of long-standing, close, and personal partnership with Noble Health over the next years and maybe generations. Shows that there is a way forward for all of us who love a small community, rural way of life. Shows that you can bring 100 or more good-paying jobs back to a community like this. Shows that for employers who want to either stay and grow here or come here, there is going to be a health care option. Shows for those who need health care services, behavioral health, or others that are perhaps weren't as available previously, that we can sort of redefine need going forward and meet it. So for all of you who made this happen, not only congratulations, but thank you, because again, it's a tough time in rural healthcare right now, and this shows that there is a bright path forward. God bless y'all.
The next speaker we'll have is actually someone that I've enjoyed watching throughout the number of years that I've known him. Worked on several projects together. Senator Moran has been a representative for the state of Kansas, both as a representative and also as the senator. I'd like to introduce him and welcome to the stage. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Congratulations. Let me just take perhaps a personal moment, but I think it matters to the community. Ann Emerson was one of the first employees I had as a United States Senator, and I've not been in Fort Scott since her passing. And I wanted to express to this community my gratitude for her and her capabilities, her love and care and compassion for people, and express my condolences to Tim and his family for their loss. It's an honor to be here on this special occasion. It's unusual for me to be in Kansas at this point in time because there's an airplane taking off in Kansas City that takes me to Washington, D.C. But this is such a valuable moment for us to recognize what is transpiring here. This is a step, a path in which further things need to happen. But this community needs to understand, in my view, don't want to be the outsider preaching, Pastor, but this community needs to understand that the decisions that have been made over the last several months, really over the last several years, determines the future of Fort Scott and Bourbon County. My primary motivation in asking you and other Kansans to give me the chance to represent you in the nation's capital, to work on your behalf, is a belief in rural America, a desire to see that the way that we grew up and the places that we call home are around for another generation and more. Absence of a hospital, absence of a healthcare delivery system mean that is not very likely. Our ability to retain young families or to encourage them to move to our community, our ability to encourage businesses to stay and to arrive, and not that there's any senior citizens in this room, but if there was, that hospital becomes very important in the decisions that they and their family make about where to call home. And so this is the decisions, the efforts, the drive to make certain that something good comes from a challenge is the thing that means that Fort Scott and Bourbon County have a future. We will all be gone, and the benefits of what's being announced here today, the first step being taken, will be enjoyed and appreciated by people we never know. And I don't know what more calling and purpose we can have in life than to make certain that what we do benefits those who we precede. And you are doing that today, as symbolizing by what's happening today. It is occurring. There is, as you look at how you keep a community together, that ability to deliver health care, to have a hospital, is often at the very top of the list. And I'm grateful that this community, you give me one more hospital to visit. There's used to be 136 hospitals in Kansas, and there's now 127. I visit all of them. And now I have one more that I'll be returning to make sure it's doing well. Any way that I can be of help to this community, to Noble Health. I serve on the Appropriations Committee that funds the Department of Health and Human Services. I serve, including CMS, and I serve on the Authorizing Committee that has jurisdiction over all healthcare issues. We want those decisions mostly to be made here in Fort Scott, here in Bourbon County, but whatever we can do to be an ally of this cause, sign us up, put us to work. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, City Council members, for this effort and for the economic development that somebody moved on me. For the economic development that has occurred. Good things happen because people in this county decided good things needed to happen. Congratulations.
Before I introduce the last speaker, but definitely not the least, is one of my favorite people in Kansas. But before I introduce him, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize that Roger Marshall's office is also here today, Senator Marshall. So thank you. Our final speaker is actually a representative. You guys know him. He's from this area. Jake Turner, Congressman Jake Turner. Thank you, man.
Good morning. This is a great crowd. Yeah, good morning. This is a really great crowd, and I understand why. First of all, it's been a rough few years in regards to healthcare in this community, and we all know it. I have interacted with people in this community for a very long time, and it is a very short list of communities that I've traveled to throughout the state of Kansas, and specifically in the 2nd Congressional District, that come together in the same manner that this community does. It's really true. People put aside their egos, sometimes their personal preferences, and come together for the common good. You have a very active chamber in this community, a great city and county government, and so I just want to thank you for your engagement in this community and in your county and this region. It really makes a difference every single day, and there's no chance that something like this could happen without your continued engagement. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to Noble Health for what you're doing in this community. Thank you for your engagement in this community, and we understand that this is the first step of a long journey, but it's an important step, because what I'm continually surprised by is how out in Washington, D.C., they don't understand the need for rural health care like we all do here. Communities like Fort Scott, communities like Galena, where I grew up, need access to quality health care. It is critical. And you have to make a decision. If you believe in the rural way of life, if you believe that these communities should stay in place and flourish, and of course I do, it leads you down the path of supporting different things that make these communities vibrant. And healthcare is at the top of that list. So I want to thank you for everything you've done. I want to thank Noble. And just as Senator Moran said, anything that we can do along this journey to be helpful, we are going to do, because we understand how important it is for this community. Thank you for everything, and may God bless you all.
So that concludes our discussions today. I guess that's the best way of calling it. Just a reminder for the people that are our guests that we've invited, there are some things in the back, water and stuff that we'd like to offer you. Other than that, thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Nothing ever.